are questions in the air is brave. Really, DP. If you defend a predator, in my opinion, you share the same view as the predator. Yeah, it's a red flag. It is a red flag, in my opinion. Only my opinion.
If that was the case, Gordo, the prisons would be full of people guilty of mind think. Gordo, you sound a fucking moron.
And DP is saying completely missing the point as per. So let's talk about that then, right? First of all, I need to ask you a question, which, to be honest, I think is a bit of a, no offence, Tony, it's a silly question, to be honest. I don't think anyway, contrary to well, let me just ask it. They're saying, what do you think of wife beaters?
As quick as possible. Wife beaters
what do you think of wife beaters?
Wife beaters are terrible. I think men beaters are bad as well.
Yeah, I would have expected you to say that.
Raising a child to sort of live in a sort of a non-beating world. You know?
I wouldn't expect anyone to say wife beating is good, to be fair. So,
what does Tony think about wife beating? Do you have any experience, Tony? The validation.
But anyway, so let's get into this. So I think I agree with the sentiment that if you enable, and I do believe that you do enable by defending somebody that has been a paedophile or
nothing to enable. What is my words on a simple panel on YouTube going to change in the world? Nothing. It gave us a couple of hours of discourse. It was fraught, it was torrid, it was a little bit funny sometimes. Vaga can be funny. It was a little bit entertaining. It was a little bit emotional as well. I think we reached a good conclusion. I think that's fair to say. The chat said it was a marvellous live stream. All of the comments afterwards that I've had today and in emails and various other comments that I've had have been positive about it. I really don't see how it's going to cause other people to do what TJE did. I don't think it's going to start a campaign of men abusing women in gyms. Not at all. In fact, it will probably encourage them not to do it because look at the fucking punishment.
So I disagree with you. I think that if people defend somebody that has done a pervertish actions, or even, I mean, other people are saying, I think he said paedophile.
You're all, do this. You're all doing this in the chat because you've been sort of groomed all evening to think it was a terrible thing. Vaga's a monster. That's why you have what's known as a pack mentality, and I accept that. I love you still. Sorry, Jubes, please continue.
Yeah, no, it wasn't necessarily about you. So there was a comment. Let me show you the comment. There was a comment here. Okay, this is the comment that they were.
Do you know what? The one against me most in the chat is JPM. He's my mate. He's been the most critical of me. Out of you lot, you're all amateurs.
Right? You're as bad as them if you support them. You lot are twisted. Right? What about a parent of a predator? Are they a predator as well then? See, right, I don't want to go into the stupidity of that comment because there's no rational fault between...
It's a fair point. Some parents support their children if their children murder, rape, whatever.
Yeah, but I would find them as disgusting.
Are the parents murderers?
And I would say that they might even...
Child?
I would say that they may have even contributed to this predator.
Well, answer my question again. If parents visit their child after the child has carried out a heinous crime, are they to be held responsible or as guilty in some way? Is that what you're saying?
Not necessarily, no.
Not necessarily, no. Well, that's what you did with DPs. You were just about to sort of tie them in all into the same bunch.
Yeah, but in some cases I would say that.
Yeah. What if one of your children was to go and do
a heinous crime? Not necessarily, no.
Would you visit them in prison? In some
cases, yes.
Dupes, would you visit them in prison?
I'm sorry to make it so.
I'll quite happily answer for myself and my
bit too close to the bone, isn't it?
Child, yes, I would. I don't know what would happen from there on. But of course I would.
Okay, back. So
nice avoidance deflection tactic.
So the fact of the matter is this, Vaga. You just asked me a question, right? And you tried to walk me down a yes or no answer again, and you do that very good.
I do it all the time.
But I answered you, and you dismissed my answer. I answered you and said, not necessarily, no.
Your sound went, Jupes. With all fairness, your sound went. I could not hear you. I don't know if the chat could hear you. And then I heard, I'm back again.
Okay. So I answered you and said, not necessarily no. And then you said, You see, but that's what you tried to do to DP. But me saying not necessarily no also means in some cases yes. Does it not?
Yeah, I get that, but
yeah.
not necessarily.
So
no.
I would say. So I would say.
Well,
hold on.
It's an answer all in itself.
Yeah. So I would say that in the case of paedophiles, right, that is the most abhorrent crime ever, and I don't know, and it is a personal opinion. It's only my personal opinion. This isn't.
Yeah, I think we would all agree on that. The problem comes when that label is used for other things that are not paedophilia. And you're like trying to avoid the fact that you've like made out DJ is a paedophile countless times. Countless.
Fact. I mean, there's no statistics to back it up, but there's statistics to show that most parents would not want anything to do with a paedophile, right? But there is no statistics to prove that a parent would reject a child outward. But I would expect most people would want to distance themselves from a paedophile because A, they've got to protect the other children in the family, if all else, and B, because it's so disgusting and heinous, and 3, because of the embarrassment of it. So anybody that goes out of their way to still love somebody that's a paedophile, I would find that very strange. And I'm a mother of 8.
A parent's love just doesn't switch off, though.
Of course it doesn't switch off, but I think that would kill me.
Yeah, and
I've
that might be the death
children.
blow to break the bond, but it's not necessarily going to break the bond, you know.
Right, so there's always outliers, I agree, but the majority of people would not want to be in touch, stay in touch, and nurture and love a paedophile. I don't care what anyone says. And I do believe that those that do, it's probably because they've got an overbearing relationship, which may have led the predator to think that he could get away with any type of behaviour. Now
I would have added to that.
Again,
I would have added to that, and I would have said maybe a lot of parents would feel as though it was their fucking fault they turned into a predator,
and possibly that too.
You know, they suddenly start thinking of all the times they left them with a babysitter, or they dumped them off at fucking playgroup when they should have spent more time with them. Maybe, you know, I think that would happen.
Yeah, I quite agree with you. But whatever the situation is or the circumstances, the majority of people would not want to be around a paedophile, even if it was their family member, right?
Of course.
Even if they're a parent. Let's be fair.
Well, something did occur to me.
So for me, the reason that I don't find this logical, let me land. The reason that I don't find this logical is because by that reasoning, I would expect most strangers not to want to be around or to back up or to defend a paedophile. Yep. And therefore, I find his logic and reasoning lacking. So when I say that to me, that doesn't make sense, to me, it doesn't make sense.
But his logic is just one part of understanding the whole situation. Your logic can be different. You understand this, don't you?
Of course, there's many levels, and I would say he's at a lower level of understanding the bigger picture.
And also, as well, one thing that occurred to me is if a child is jailed for a heinous crime against a child, if an adult is jailed for a heinous crime against a child, and his parents visit him in prison, I wonder if upon release would that relationship continue? Would they distance themselves from him? Would they keep him at arm's length? Would they welcome him back into the family? Because we have experience of these cases happening, don't we, with a certain demographic. So we know how some families deal with this situation, if that's a fair example to use.
Yeah, there is a section of society in our country now, and well, there always was with paedophilia. There are some people that just don't find it as abhorrent as the rest of us, sadly. You know,
there are many families in this country, I'm sure this is no shock to anyone, where incest and pedophilia is generational. It still exists in many parts of this country. It's not been wiped out, sadly. It tends to be in the outer areas more so than in your cities, where people can accidentally see it happening. But yes, I mean...
So, would you like to say the demographic? Because I can think of 2 demographics.
Well, the obvious
one is the elites, and the other is Pakistani grooming gangs.
Yep. Well, it's not grooming, is it?
Well, I would say
grooming
it is.
Is when I do my hair when I go out picking up ladies.
So, if you'd like to, would you like to say what demographic you're talking about, or do you just
Pakistani Muslims are by and large the greatest demographic partaking in that particular crime. there are other nationalities as well.
Yeah. So let's carry
and how
on.
they deal with when the husband or son or uncle or grandfather is imprisoned is they support them fully. They will protest outside the police station where they're arrested. They will protest outside of the court case. They will probably protest at the prison or wherever they're held. And on release, they're hailed as heroes.
Yeah.
I know it's of no relevance to this case. It's just something, because I was trying to imagine how a parent would feel, and that popped into my head. So I apologise if it's a tangent not worth doing, but I was trying to sort of understand how it might be for a parent.
I would say that comes through a culture